It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so you guys know that True School Sports is not just the home of boxing, but it's definitely a place where we love to talk about Japanese boxing and Japanese fighters from the American perspective. You know, got a lot of love for the country Japan and their fighters and what they bring to the sport inside and outside the boxing ring. And I've talked about so many hypothetical potential matches for Inoue at 122, at 126. I mean, you guys have seen the videos if you watch them, but one of them that I never discussed, which I actually think is probably maybe a little bit more realistic than some of the fights I made other videos about, is that fight right there. I don't know if y'all can see, but Naoya Inoue versus Junto Nakatani. Now, this is a fight, truth be told, I think this is a fight that is capable of stopping the country of Japan. I think it's got the potential, quite possibly, to be the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. I think it's that big of a fight. Why? Well, because number one, Naoya Inoue is the biggest star in Japan by a country mile. That's number one. He's fight by fight growing his brand and star power to such a level where I don't think he's too far off from snatching the crown as the entire face of boxing. People like to argue about that whole face of boxing thing between Tank and Canelo. I'm telling you, I think Inoue is just slowly but surely coming through the back door, and he's slowly but surely moving towards the title of being the face of boxing because his star power has no bounds. It has no limits. He's got the whole country of Japan behind him. He's becoming a household name here in the States. And I just think that the whole world, I mean, he's going to fight in Saudi probably in 2024, so this year. So I think his star potential is absolutely limitless, right? So you have that on one side. And then on the other side, you have a guy that, you know, is gaining a lot of respect in the sport of boxing in Junto Nakatani. You know, this is a guy that's been champion a couple times over now. This is a guy in Junto Nakatani who I feel, you know, a lot of people are saying they think Junto Nakatani is the second best fighter in Japan behind Inoue. Now, I don't agree with that, but I could see why people think that. And quiet as kept, they have the same record. They have the same amount of professional fights. They're both 26-0. They're both flying the flag high for the land of the rising sun. And I just think, look at right now. Junto is fighting at 118 pounds. He just moved up from 15 to 118. He'll be fighting Alexander Santiago for the WBC belt, right? I could foresee him in 2024. You know, let's say he wins the belt, defends it one time. I could see him doing that in 2024. That could be a 2024. Maybe he wins the belt and either defends or unifies. And then after he does that, you know, we know Inoue is going to stay at 22 for the whole entire 2024. He's already made that very clear that he's not moving up to featherweight this calendar year. So there's no sense in me expecting that, right? But let's just say Junto does what he's got to do this year. 2025, I think Junto will have grown his star power and his profile big enough to the point where, you know, you could make the biggest fight there's ever been between two Japanese fighters at 122. Inoue could stay at 122. I'm talking about early summer, spring, summertime in Japan. Imagine the scenes. Naoya Inoue, Junto Nakatani at 122 for all the belts, for all the marbles. The fight that could stop the land of the rising sun in its tracks and captivate the whole, not just Japan, but I think the boxing in general, because stylistically, we know that Inoue is a great boxer puncher, with amazing speed, you know, incendiary precision, you know, with the punches. He is one of boxing's most complete fighters, right? And Junto Nakatani, he's like a machine gun. The guy is big for the weight class. I think this is going to be a guy that fights as high as, you know, featherweight or 130 one day. He's big. You know, he's got the frames to continue scaling these weight classes. It would be really intriguing to see Junto's volume punching style being so tall and how Inoue would handle that. And I think, you know, one thing I know about the Japanese people and their culture is that they take pride in their culture. They take pride in where they're from. That's why when you go to the country, there's not much trash on the floor. They're very big on personal responsibility. And I know when two Japanese fighters fight each other, it tends to bring out the best in them. Example, we recently had on the Inoue Tapales undercard, Kazuki Anaguchi versus Seiya Tsutsumi, one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. A couple years ago, Kazuto Ioka versus Kosai Tanaka. Kazuto Ioka turned in a career best performance, and it took another elite upper echelon, Japanese fighter to do that. So I would not be surprised if Inoue turned in a career best performance and Junto turned in a career best performance, because it's no different. When you have that local pride on the line, to be the best, not just in your weight class, but in your country, it takes on a whole different meaning. So I would like this fight. And they're talking, look, I'm gonna say this, and I guess who am I, but I'll say this: a true school advisory tip, free of charge, to the Japanese out there. I really think this fight could be such a spectacle. Like I'm talking, like they're talking about fighting Mirjan Akhmadaliev and Louis Neri in the Tokyo Dome. Nah, man, forget all that. You really want to do it big? You want to throw a Japanese boxing extravaganza? This is the fight that needs to be in the Tokyo Dome. Not none of them fights. I personally, I think Inoue should just keep fighting at the Ariake Arena, or fighting Yokohama in his hometown, or go to the Middle East all this year. And this needs to be the fight that you save for the Tokyo Dome, because I feel like it would actually be a bit of an injustice if Naoya Inoue's first fight in the Tokyo Dome was against a guy like Louis Neri, just a regular whatever opponent. No, why not do it big? Why not let it be against the other biggest young star in Japan, and let it be for all the belts in a big undisputed fight? And more importantly than that, more so than just that, it would be a worldwide celebration of the value that Japanese boxing brings to this sport. We know that ESPN and Top Rank, they co-promote Nakatani and Inoue. Inoue is promoted by Ohashi Promotions. Junto Nakatani is promoted by Tekken Promotions. So with that being said, I don't see why it couldn't happen. I mean, Mr. Honda, I know, does play a role in pretty much everything that goes on in Japanese boxing. So I think if his blessing could be bestowed upon this matchup, and God willing it could be for something like the Tokyo Dome, then man, that would be just amazing. And I think if from just my perspective, and I'm speaking as an outsider, I'm speaking as somebody who's not from Japan, right? But I love the country. I think this would be such a big deal for Japanese boxing, because you would get two of the most entertaining fighters from the country fighting each other for all the belts, and to do it in a historical venue, a great venue, a beautiful venue that I've been to before, the Tokyo Dome. That's Tokyo Dome, caliber fight. Not Inoue versus Neri, but Inoue versus Junto. That's the fight they need for the Tokyo Dome. So look, early 2025, I think it is realistic. Inoue, defend, God willing, Inoue does what he needs to do, stays undefeated the rest of this year, defends the undisputed title a couple times in Japan and in Saudi Arabia against the likes of Mirjan, Sam Goodman, Louis Neri, any combination of those three. And then if Junto, let's say he beats Santiago, gets the WBC belt, he could probably do a unification fight with Maloney or the Maloney-Saul Sanchez winner. And then if he's able to do that, all right, then he can just drop the belts, go up to 22, and boom, you got yourself, in my humble opinion, the biggest fight between two Japanese fighters in the history of the sport. Naoya Inoue versus Junto Nakatani for all the marbles at 122 at the Tokyo Dome. Just think about it. Ponder that. Marinate on that. Think about the scenes it could produce. And you could put like Ken Shiro on the undercard, Kosai Tanaka on the undercard. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with that fight. And I just think there's a lot of potential if the powers that be were to follow through on, my wild imagination. But let me know what you guys think. What would you guys think about Junto versus Inoue, or Inoue versus Junto 2025 for all the belts in the Tokyo Dome? I know there's a lot that needs to happen before we get to that point, but I think ahead. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're here at the Hantanaka Boxing Gym in Nagoya, Japan. And for more great videos just like this one, make sure you guys click right here.